Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I'm reviewing the Black Ops 6 beta, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And unfortunately this year we have quite a lot of ugly from the Black Ops 6 beta. I want to apologize ahead of time if my gameplay looks choppy. That's just how my beta ran on both weekends, so if you see some frame skips and some stuttering, that's not the playback on your phone or PC. That's just how the game played for me. You'll see some gameplay from mouse and keyboard and some from controller, playing a little mix and match. I got the full experience this time because I played more Black Ops 6 beta than any particular game I have in a long time, with multiple inputs on multiple machines and different configurations to really get a feel for it. I streamed it a whole bunch. I pushed myself to be active on this product and took some risk with my health. And it was a rough experience. So today we're going to be doing the good, bad, and ugly format, but instead of starting with the good, we're going to be starting out with the ugly because the ugly is very important this year. But I'm going to do two quick good shout outs for myself before we get into all the negativity. First of all, if you want to talk about this or anything else, we have an extremely active Discord community, which is linked down there below. And second of all, the next video that you're likely to see on this channel is a massive project that I have been working on for multiple months. It's one of the highest quality things I've ever put on this channel. It's a manga review. It'll have a thumbnail similar to what you see on the screen. Please check it out. That's really the one that I've been working super hard on, and I just hope it does well. So I hope some of you guys check it out. All right, cool. So let's talk about the ugly of Black Ops 6. Then the ugliest thing about this game is its optimization. My game ran extremely poorly and was borderline unplayable on both weekends, albeit the second weekend was considerably worse than the first. The first weekend was kind of a rough experience. It was choppy waters. The second weekend was a full-blown tempest or hurricane. We're talking system-wide PC failures, PlayStation 5 failures. We're talking crashes. We're talking hitches. We're talking freezing, micro stutters, black screen, audio problems, and on PC, it stressed my PC out so much it would disable my USB ports mid-stream. It was so bad it was crashing my stream and I had to constantly reboot the stream. The experience of this optimization was bad enough that it probably negatively skews the rest of this entire review because I never really fully got to experience the way the game was supposed to be played. I just kind of got this choppy, buggy mess. But instead of rambling, let's talk details. First thing about optimization that's messed up is that the minimum install size for the Black Ops 6 beta is 140 gigabytes. Call of Duty as a game is just gigantic. If you install the whole package, it can be pushing 250 gigabytes. I had to delete other games just to be able to play this beta on my PC. And this is insane to me because Call of Duty is bigger than any other game by a modern game by a factor of like 3 to 4, depending on the game you're choosing. And it's so big, I wonder if it's a deliberate strategy to try to monopolize your hard drive space so that you can't even install other games. That's a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but man, it feels that way because there is no reason for the game to be as outrageously huge as it is. I mean, it's not like it's got a 500-hour campaign. It's bigger than Cyberpunk. It's bigger than Baldur's Gate. That's nuts. And on top of that, booting Black Ops 6 or any COD game now requires that you go to the COD HQ. And then once you're in the COD HQ, then you boot the game, and all it does is shut down the HQ and then launch a second EXE for the other game, but you need the HQ to confirm that you own the game. And then once the game boots, you're going to have to restart it several times. You'll have to do shaders, you'll have to update requires restart, game requires restart, player stats, something. For me, it was pretty normal to have to reboot the game about 4 times before I actually got into the games, and then I could start installing shaders. Shaders take forever, but that's nothing new. Once I'm in a game, the experience was one of pretty frequent frame drops and micro stutters. And then with weekend 2, I started getting a very choppy experience in terms of lag, and my overall PC performance went really downhill. I'm going to try not to curse during this review. I had the black screen glitch, I had the game hitching, I had it freezing where I was able to do inputs, I just couldn't see what was going on. I had to where it won't load matches and I have to reboot and do that restart thing several times. It actually hitched so badly that it disabled all of the USB ports on my computer in some sort of weird emergency power saving operation, which means that in the middle of a match, I would have no mouse input, no keyboard input, no headset input. And since I was streaming, all my webcams would freeze, my OBS would go crazy. I'd have to reboot everything in order to get the stream back up because it would just kind of nuke everything. And for those of you that were on stream, you saw this unpleasant process and you saw me getting mad about it. And I want to be clear that I'm not just talking about PC problems here. This happened on J-Hub's PlayStation 5 as well. I watched a bunch of other people streaming on their PlayStation 5s. I read the subreddits, very negative. Xbox streams as well. Everybody everywhere is stuttering and freezing and crashing, and there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason why. Some PCs are fine, some are Crash City. Some PlayStations are fine, some are Crash Mega City. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is. Some people played this and had no problems. A lot of people had major problems. I thought the problem was me. I thought it was a me problem. I thought I was just having this problem because I was playing on a 3070 Ti and an i7 processor on my small form factor bed PC. And I was also doing like recording on OBS and stuff. So I decided for the second weekend, I would instead either not use OBS or do it down to just the bare minimum, either recording or streaming. It still crashed. It was still a mess. The PC still got overloaded. So I tried to install this on a different PC that has a 4090 and an i9 processor. But after 4 attempts to boot Black Ops 6, I could not get the game to boot and begin to install shaders. So I just gave up. And a part of me wants to blame my PCs, but they play every other game just fine, such as Battlefield 2042 in high settings, the Finals, ultra settings, Boulder Gate 3, ultra settings, Splitgate, ultra settings, Apex, high settings, and they do all of this at 120 FPS while OBS is at least double encoding, and none of these other games hitch like Call of Duty. And all of these games have install sizes that are like a quarter that of Call of Duty. Black Ops 6 appears to be a very CPU-intensive game. It's one of a very few modern games that taxes your CPU almost as much as your GPU. And in my case, this was likely overloading the CPU, my processor, and forcing the USB ports to crash. It's a frustrating problem, but it's one that we've had literally since 2019 Call of Duty. And I've been buying and building a new PC almost every single fall just so that it can play Call of Duty. Because Call of Duty is such a demanding game. You literally need a beast PC every single year to play it at decent quality. And this year, I think I'm done with that. If I can play the Finals at 120 FPS, ultra quality, while double encoding streaming and double encoding recording, quad encoding on this little PC without a single frame drop, then I should be able to play Call of Duty on medium settings 120 with none of that other stuff going on. It shouldn't be, the difference shouldn't be that extreme. And I think a lot of this has to do with the texture streaming that's used in the game. I know for a fact that texture streaming causes people to have packet burst, or I suppose I don't know it for a fact. That's just what everybody in all the comments and Reddit and all the very techie people are saying, that it forces you to download these huge textures mid-game, which causes you to lag, and then tries to install and apply them, which causes the system to hitch. The texture streaming is a genuine problem, and I still don't understand why we have to stream textures when we're already installing like close to 200 gigabytes of stuff on the hard drive. It's baffling. The hard drive space is already gigantic. We shouldn't need to have to stream textures on top of that. But every single time I had to download textures, I would get a packet burst, and it was very unpleasant. It was especially bad on the second weekend. I'm being serious here when I say that the optimization on the game across all systems was very bad, and this bodes very negatively for the quality of the full release. So my bad section was very, very bad this year. I can also, that was the ugly section. We haven't made it to the bad section. We can also talk about Babylon and Derail being outrageously bad maps. But let's move into the bad section and just talk about some things that I just generally didn't like. First up is that the Omnimovement ended up being overwhelming instead of fun, and this might just be me being a boomer and not being able to adapt, but I felt that I had to push myself very hard in order to just be an average player in Black Ops 6. I was really sweating. I was really working my fingers. I was really working that brain to try to learn some things, and it was genuinely challenging. It was not a very chill experience. The maps in the game were mostly very small and very chaotic. Naturally, the spawn system is going to be bad on some of the smaller strike maps. That kind of makes sense because they're really designed for 2v2 at most. But the spawns were downright atrocious on Babylon. Babylon was a downright atrocious map to begin with. I must have spawned directly in someone's line of sight about 100 times on that map already, and the game's not even out yet. I would just spawn, and there'd be people looking from their spawn to my spawn to spawn kill me off the spawn, and grenades rolling in, or people using the weird sleeper agent sneak into my spawn and pretend to be a guy and then shoot me in the back the very second I'm alive. I would spawn in Babylon and like immediately have PTSD. I would spawn and just stim and like try to sprint out of my spawn to live. The spawn system, revenge-based, not very good. We need some logic on that. It worked better when people kind of didn't know how to use the maps, but now that people can navigate the maps a lot faster, the spawn system is very wonky. And the problem with the small maps in the revenge spawn system is that it leads to what Reddit is calling brain rot gameplay. I agree, and we'll move back around on that in a moment. But this very second I get a kill or two in this game, okay? I've killed people, I've got less than half a mag left. I feel like I need to immediately scan around, do a full 360, and make sure that they're not spawning on me or spawning in a place where they can see me or get to me very, very quickly. I feel that Black Ops 6 is nearly unplayable unless you have stims and fast mags or extended mags, because the reload time is way too slow for this kind of game. I found myself immediately trying to stim, hide, and reload after every single kill, just praying that the same person I just killed, or perhaps a teammate, wasn't going to be barreling down on top of me in a quarter of a second, and most of the time I was wrong about that. This leads to extremely fast combat loops. Live, die, repeat. Live, spawn, die, repeat. Over and over and over and over again. Really, really fast. You end up with hundreds of different interactions per map. And it reminds me a little bit more of Shipment gameplay than anything else. If you've played Shipment, most of the maps in this game all play like slightly bigger versions of Shipment. Now, Redditors have been describing this as TikTok brain rot gameplay because you don't even have enough time to think strategically or plan any moves before enemies are already barreling down on top of you. So it's very reminiscent of the dopamine loops that people get stuck in on TikTok, where they're constantly scrolling for that next hit of funny video. Because you just spawn, shoot a guy, probably get shot in the back, repeat, all on a loop. And this could be deliberate. You know, conspiracy theory me could say that it could be deliberately put there to give younger audiences more frequent dopamine hits like they're used to on their social media. But for me, I found it very overwhelming and frustrating. We got some quickies here in the bad section. First quickie is that the Omnimovement system allows people to roll over on their stomachs and still on their backs and stomachs, still having their guns up, which means a lot of people that are alive but prone look like dead bodies, which means I ran up right past a whole ton of people that were just laying prone in a body and got shot with this easy 360-degree tracking that's going on. You guys, if you haven't seen it, you have got to check out JackFrag's video where he did nothing but lay down all game and let people run right past him, because the game is so fast-paced and so frantic, you do not have time to check if that's a body or a guy just laying prone. He managed to lay on the bed in Skyline for like a solid couple minutes before somebody noticed he was even there, just out in the open, no guns, no nothing. That's a very frustrating experience. We got to do something about that. There are no detailed weapon stats or attachment stats, which is probably great for JGod and Ace and True Game Data that are going to dig all this information out and make videos out of it. But it's not good for all of you at home when your gun says, oh, this is purely bonus, there's no downsides. And then for like rapid fire and no stock, there are downsides that just aren't listed. And you can't really tell what the guns are doing anymore. It's a big step backward in that regard. It's just not showing people the information that they need. Footsteps did not improve from weekend 1 or 2. These very inconsistent. Some people are telling me they're very loud. Good for you. God bless you. I barely hear them. I don't know if it's that they're bugged or if there's like a priority problem with the audio engine. We did a whole video about footsteps. Footstep is, I basically don't even use sound to navigate the game because there's no point. Black Ops 6 has lower visibility than usual for a Treyarch game. I wish this wasn't the case, but it is. The maps had more dark areas than I was expecting, and a sort of a generally browner, more grounded color scheme, which led to a lower visibility of enemies. It's still better than average or better than Modern Warfare, which is the sort of the COD standard, but Treyarch has done better on map visibility. Time to kill is very fast, which can be frustrating. More frustrating is that it's inconsistent. Then finally, the last quickie in the bad section, I did a whole video on this one as well. Controller is vastly superior to mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard feels like an afterthought in this game. Controller is 100% the way that it was meant to be played. I don't like that these two inputs are unequal just for the general state of the game. And I don't like it for me because I can't use the controller very much before my hands give out. I really need to do mostly mouse and keyboard. And now we're finally at the good section, which I'm sorry took so incredibly long to get to. It's just, as I said in the beginning, my experience with the Black Ops 6 beta was very negatively marred by optimization and performance issues, so I felt like I spent more time fighting the game than I did playing the game and trying to get good at it and master it. But there are some things about Black Ops 6 that I definitely like, and we're going to go over them all here in the back end of the video, and then a little personal update. So the first good thing is the lobby music is maybe the best it has been since Black Ops 2. I know that's a very minor thing, but man, that Black Ops 2 lobby music, that Black Ops 3 lobby music, all of the Black Ops lobby music lives rent-free in my head. This one for Black Ops 6, instant classic, instant banger, sounds fantastic. It's a perfect, like, nostalgic sort of throwback to the older styles, but also its own unique thing. Love that. I can't play it for you because I'll probably get a copyright strike. Next thing I loved about Black Ops 6 is the general feel of the new movement and sprint speeds. I believe that they increased movement speed, increased sprinting speed, dashing speed, jumping speed. All the speed is cranked up. It's definitely the fastest Call of Duty game that I've ever played. And I mean that in a good way, because I like fast games. Actually, that's wrong. I love fast games. And I love games that let me go fast and don't inhibit my movement very much. Black Ops 6 is absolutely one of those games. If you want to play cranked, if you want to play cracked out, if you just want to run through this map like Tracer, like a maniac, diving and shooting and sliding, you can absolutely do that. And the basics of the Omnimovement allow you to. Not only this move speed being increased, but the easy climbing, the faster jumping, the sliding, the spin around, the roll on your belly. All of that stuff really works in your favor when you're using it to navigate the map. And I believe that all of the Omnimovement stuff contributes to this fantastic feeling of going fast. When the game is working, when it's jiving with you, when it's sort of making sense, it can be very fun. It gives me this Overwatch 1 kind of memory, or maybe a Black Ops 3 kind of memory, where I just feel like I am flying through the map like a maniac and hitting all sorts of little poles and dodges and slides like I'm playing Mirror's Edge and I've got it figured out, and I do a cool dramatic stunt and shoot a guy with 2 guns while flying through the air. Feels fantastic. So when the game is on and you're sort of in the mood to master all of the new Omnimovement, optimization's going well, it can feel really, really satisfying in the right situations. Beyond this, the automatic sprint, mantle assist, and crouch assist all have worked very well for me, both on PC and console, and they've made the Omnimovement much more approachable and much less difficult to do. I was breaking my fingers, kind of slamming things around earlier, trying to do mouse and keyboard, but, mouse and keyboard without the auto mantle assist. But turning on auto mantle and auto crouch and all that made everything just way easier. Love that. I think it's fantastic that you can customize your HUD for the first time ever in a Call of Duty game. Most of you will have noticed that I decided not to do that. I was very happy with the default HUD, but I did go play with some of the options and it was very fun. This is something that we should have had years ago. I absolutely love that Treyarch allows us to have that sort of customization. I think all the animations in the game are really crisp and good looking. I remember when Black Ops Cold War came out, they were kind of making fun of some of the animations. All of the gun weapon animations, the reloading, the handling, the chambering, and especially how they synergize with the crazy spastic movement, all of that looks and feels really good. The guns are going to feel good in your hands. There's great animations for both the characters' movement and for their, not the winner's circle, but their executions and some of their other things. The characters look really good for the most part. And another more meaningful compliment that I will give is that the overall weapon design and gunplay was excellent. It's actually above average for Treyarch standards. Now, my experience was marred by some lag and some hitching and shaders and textures and whatnot, but even from that experience, I can tell that the weapons in this game are all extremely well designed. They all have a sort of unique feel and play to them. They have different niches, different uses. Their fire rates and damages are different enough to where every single one feels like its own special little character that has its unique gameplay purpose. I was very happy with the design of all the guns, except the shotguns were a little weak, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. Sound effects were good. Hit marker sounds were good. Headshot sounds were good. Everything about fighting and being in a gunfight and moving and tracking and shooting, all of that superbly well done. I'll also say that Treyarch did a good job on map aesthetics. Those are pretty good. I mentioned there's some visibility problems earlier, but we do keep up the map aesthetic variety that Treyarch is known for. All of the maps are at least visually distinct and interesting and different from one another, so I think that's fantastic. We're not fully 50 Shades of Brown here. And I can't review other aspects of this game yet because they're not out, but I am looking forward to playing campaign. It looks like a really replayable and fun campaign too, with all the branching paths and secrets and stuff to pick up. Zombies looks really deep, and I'll have plenty of gameplay of that as well when it comes out, so that looks interesting. So even though my review of the multiplayer section has been more negative than anything else, there are other good aspects of this game for you to try if you want to. And I don't mean just different modes like zombies and Warzone and campaign, but there are some really fun things going on with the Omnimovement, some neat ideas here. And just a lot of it didn't translate well to me because the optimization was so messed up and it was so hard to play. I'm really genuinely hoping that when the full game comes out, all of those bugs have been fixed and it's a nice, smooth, fun experience, and I don't even think about this, and I look back on it and feel silly and be like, oh, Drifter, you jumped the gun. You were criticizing a beta for no reason. They ran the beta to get, to understand these problems and fix them up. I hope that's what's going to happen, but the optimization is rough enough to where I don't think that's the highest probability experience for me. So, moving now to the end of the video, I want to talk about my personal feelings about this game and how much I'm going to play it. The short version is I'm probably not going to play very much if the optimization isn't fixed. I'm not building a whole new PC for the 4th year in a row just to play Call of Duty. Definitely going to play multiplayer, definitely going to play at launch, definitely going to give it another shake, definitely going to try to be more positive. But if I can't play the game without stutters and hitching and packet bursts and freezing, if I can't even get it to boot on some of my machines, then that's going to be an exercise in madness to pursue. Definitely going to play some campaign and zombies. And the other thing that worries me is that even for Black Ops 6, if everything goes great and the optimization is fixed and I could just get this experience of running around the map like Sonic the Hedgehog, just shooting people with akimbo pistols, I have to be serious that this game extracts a heavy toll from me to play because of how demanding the movement is on PC. And we're not going to get into my health problems too much, but I've got bad hands, weak hands. It's very hard to work controllers, and mouse and keyboard's not super easy. The more twitchy, the more button presses, the more fast-paced the game, obviously the worse this is. This has been the most demanding thing for me in a long time. More than the finals, more than Splitgate, more than other kind of bouncy games. So I don't know, even if everything is fixed, if I'm going to be able to play without making a considerable improvement to my health and strength in a short amount of time. Otherwise, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be as active in this game as I need to be, which puts me in a bad spot because this is still, I'm doing a lot of other content, but still technically a gaming channel. And more specifically, I'm a Call of Duty content creator. COD is my bread and butter. This is the #1 thing that I should be doing. And I'm being put in a position where Call of Duty, as of right now, is not tenable for my hardware, my PCs, or my body, being my hands. Like, if it's going to crash and destroy my PCs, then I can't play it. And if it's going to tax my hands too much, I can't play it. I genuinely want to be able to just lay down and have a good time playing Call of Duty and kind of, be successful on YouTube, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing here and what the algorithm wants me to do. But it's not looking tenable at the moment. If we can fix optimization, or if hands can get better, if I can fix one or the other, I can go back and play some COD. I can't do bad hands and bad PC crashing. Like, that's just the worst of all the worlds. So really hoping it shapes up a bit before the final review. But it's looking like a challenging fall for me to cover Call of Duty. And hey, if you made it this far in the video, don't forget to check out that Discord or the Blame review that's coming later this year. That's going to be, actually not this year, in a couple of weeks. That's going to be incredibly fun. Just keep your eyes open for it, and I hope to see some of you there in the comments section. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.